She said, "I'm selling your comic collection on eBay. You're 35? Grow up." My collection was worth $47,000 and included issues from my late father. I said, "Please don't." She did it anyway. Then I contacted every buyer, explained they were stolen property, got them returned, and pressed charges. When the police showed up at her door, original post, I, 35 male, have been collecting comics since I was 7 years old. It wasn't just a hobby. It was the primary language I spoke with my father. He was a blue-collar guy, worked HVAC his whole life, but every Wednesday, he'd come home with a stack of single issues. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had Marvel. When he passed away from a heart attack 4 years ago, the collection became the physical embodiment of my memory of him. I'm talking about long boxes filled with a mix of dollar bin readers and some serious keys, giant-size X-Men #1, a high-grade Hulk #181, and a nearly pristine run of the Amazing Spider-Man from the late 200s. I had them insured. I had them cataloged. I treated them like the asset class they are. The total appraised value for the insurance rider was just north of $47,000. I've been living with Vanessa for 2 years. Our lease is in my name because her credit score is roughly the same temperature as a bleak winter day in Alaska. Vanessa has always been tolerant of the collection. She called it my paper dolls or nerd hoarding, but since I kept everything neatly organized in a custom shelving unit in the spare room, which I pay extra rent for, she didn't say much. Or so I thought. Lately, she's been dropping hints about elevating our space. She watches those home renovation shows where a couple knocks down walls to create an open-concept barn for no reason. She wanted the spare room to be a mindfulness sanctuary or a guest suite for when her judgmental mother visits. I told her no. That room is my office and archive. I pay the majority of the bills. I get the spare room. That was the boundary. Last Tuesday, I came home early from work. I work in logistics, and we had a system outage, so I clocked out at 2 p.m. I walked into the apartment, and the silence was heavy. Usually, Vanessa is blasting true crime podcasts while she works. She sells essential oils and lifestyle coaching on Instagram, which nets her about $200 a month. I walked down the hall to put my bag in the office, and I froze. The door was open. The custom shelving unit, the one I built with my dad, was empty. Not just rearranged. Empty. The 25 long boxes were gone. The slab grated. Issues I kept on display were gone. The walls were bare. In the middle of the room, there was a beige yoga mat and a potted fern that looked like it was already dying of embarrassment. I felt the blood drain out of my face. It was a physical sensation like the floor had dropped out. I walked into the living room. Vanessa was sitting on the couch, scrolling on her phone, sipping a glass of Pinot Grigio. She looked up and smiled, a tight, satisfied little smirk. "You're home early," she said. "Did you see the Zen Den? It looks so much bigger without all that clutter." I stared at her. My brain was trying to process the visual information. "Vanessa, where are the books?" She waved her hand dismissively, not even looking up from her screen. "I handled it. You've been saying you need to grow up and get serious about our future. You're 35, Arthur. It's embarrassing to have a room dedicated to children's drawings." So I listed them. "You listed them?" My voice was barely a whisper. "Listed them where?" "eBay," she said, popping the P like she was proud. "And Facebook Marketplace for the heavy boxes. I priced them to move. I figured if we get a couple of grand, we could put a down payment on that venue for the wedding. We aren't engaged. I haven't proposed." "Vanessa," I said, my voice shaking. "Those books are insured for $47,000. Did you sell them?" She rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic. They're old magazines. And yes, they're selling like crazy. My phone has been blowing up all day. I already made like $2,000. I packed them up, and the UPS guy picked up the first batch an hour ago. I felt like I was going to vomit." She sold $47,000 worth of assets for $2,000. "Show me," I demanded. "Show me the account." She huffed, standing up. "You are being so ungrateful." "I did the labor. I took the pictures." She shoved her phone in my face. I looked at the screen. My heart stopped. She had created a new account called Nessie Cleanup. There was my dad's Hulk #181, the first appearance of Wolverine, a book I spent 3 years paying off, listed for buy it now at $500. It had sold in 3 seconds. The giant-size X-Men sold for $300. She had listed box of Spider-Man for $100. That box contained the first appearance of Venom. "You stole from me," I said. The calm in my voice terrified me. It wasn't peace. It was the eye of storm. "I didn't steal," she screeched, her face turning that blotchy red she gets when she's challenged. "We live together. It's community property. I'm doing this for us. For our future. You care more about stupid paper than you care about me." "Those are my father's," I said, "and you sold them for pennies." "Your father is dead, Arthur. He doesn't care." That was it. That was the moment the relationship evaporated. It didn't end. It was incinerated. I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I walked to the bedroom, packed a bag, and grabbed my laptop. "Where are you going?" she asked, following me, looking suddenly unsure. "We have dinner reservations at 7. "I'm going to a hotel," I said. "Do not contact me." "You're leaving me over comic books?" She laughed, a high-pitched, nervous sound. "You're pathetic. You'll be back tomorrow when you realize how stupid you're being." I walked out the door. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, just breathing. Then, I drove to the nearest police precinct. I sat down with a desk sergeant named Kowalski. He looked like he had seen everything and was impressed by none of it. I told him my girlfriend stole my collection. "Look, buddy," Kowalski said, leaning back. "Domestic disputes over property. That's civil. You live together. Unless you have proof of exclusive ownership and value. The courts handle that. Not us. She says it's hers. You say it's yours." "It's he said, she said." I reached into my bag and pulled out a binder. My dad taught me to be organized. Inside was the insurance policy from State Farm, the specialized rider for collectibles, the appraisal from certified grading company dated 6 months ago, and the itemized inventory list with serial numbers for the slab books. "The total insured value is $47,450, I said. She took them without my permission and sold them. In this state, theft over $1,000 is a felony. This is grand larceny. Kowalski looked at the binder. He looked at the appraisal. He whistled low. "Okay, that changes things. This isn't a box of Beanie Babies." He took my statement. I gave him the URL to her eBay profile. I showed him the sold listings. He gave me a case number. Then I went to the hotel and opened my laptop. I had work to do. I contacted eBay's Trust and Safety Department. I uploaded the police report. I uploaded the insurance documents. I flagged every single sold item as stolen property. Then I did something tedious. I messaged every buyer. Since the transactions were fresh, I could use the contact buyer feature on some or see their usernames. Message: "Hello. I'm the legal owner of the item you just purchased from Nessie Cleanup. This item was stolen from my home today. A police report has been filed, case hashtag 899-22B. eBay has been notified. If you receive this item, you are in possession of stolen property. Do not open the package. eBay will be refunding you. Please cooperate with the investigation." It was a bluff on the possession part, mostly, but I needed to scare them into returning the goods or canceling the orders. My phone started ringing at 11 p.m. It was Vanessa. I let go to voicemail. Then again. Then a text. "The cops are here? Arthur, stop this right now. You are humiliating me." I turned my phone off. I slept like a baby. Update 1. It has been 3 days. The fallout has been extensive. First, let's talk about the logistics of the theft. Vanessa, in her infinite wisdom and haste to declutter, hadn't actually shipped everything. She had shipped about 10 packages, the ones with the high-value, buy-it-now slabs, because she wanted that PayPal money released instantly. The bulk of the collection, the long boxes, was sitting in the trunk of her Kia Soul and stacked in the back seat, waiting for her to drive them to the post office the next day. When the police showed up at the apartment that first night, it wasn't just a friendly chat, because I had provided the insurance rider proving the $47,000 value. They treated it as a significant property crime. Officer Kowalski apparently sent a patrol unit over to secure the scene. According to my neighbor, Mrs. Gable, who hears everything and texts me the gossip, Vanessa threw a tantrum of epic proportions. She tried to block the officers from looking in her car. That gave them probable cause, combined with my statement. They found the boxes. They seized them as evidence. Now, for the justice part. Vanessa was arrested. Not a ticket. Not a warning. Handcuffs. Ride in the back of the cruiser. Booking photos. The whole 9 yards. The charge is grand larceny. She called me from the station. I didn't answer. She called her parents. They bailed her out yesterday morning. I haven't gone back to the apartment. I sent a moving company with a police escort to get the rest of my stuff, clothes, electronics, furniture I bought. I left her the yoga mat and the fern. The landlord was furious about the police presence, but once I showed him the police report, he let me break the lease without penalty. He's actually starting eviction proceedings against Vanessa because her name isn't on the lease, and he has a strict no criminal activity clause. The entitlement, however, has reached new heights. Yesterday afternoon, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered, thinking it was the insurance adjuster. Arthur, this is Gregory, Vanessa's father. Hello, Gregory. Son, we need to stop this nonsense. Vanessa is a mess. She has a record now. Do you know what this does to her reputation? I imagine it makes it hard for her to sell stolen goods, I said. Now listen here, his voice dropped an octave, trying to do that authoritative dad thing. It was a mistake. She thought she was helping the household. She didn't know the value. You can't ruin a girl's life over some comic books. We are willing to write you a check for, let's say, $2,000, to cover the one she sold. You drop the charges, tell the police it was a misunderstanding, and we move on. Gregory, I said, keeping my voice level. The collection is valued at $47,000. She sold the cornerstone of my father's legacy for $500. She looked me in the eye and said my dead father didn't care. I'm not dropping anything. The district attorney picks up the charges, not me. It's out of my hands. You are a vindictive little man, he spat. She wasted 2 years on you. She was trying to build a future. She was trying to pay for a wedding venue I never agreed to. I corrected. Goodbye, Gregory. I hung up and immediately emailed a recording of the call to the detective assigned to the case. Single-party consent state, folks. Know your laws. On the eBay front, eBay shut down her account for fraud. The buyers were a mixed bag. The guy who bought the Hulk number 181 was furious. He knew he got a steal and was trying to claim finders keepers. I had the detective contact him. Once the words receiving stolen property across state lines were mentioned, he suddenly became very cooperative. He shipped the slab back to the police evidence locker. Most of the other buyers were understanding, or at least didn't want legal trouble. PayPal froze the funds in Vanessa's account, so she didn't even get to keep the money she made. The saddest part came when I went to the police station to identify the recovered items. The police let me look through the boxes they pulled from her car. She hadn't treated them well. She'd thrown them into the trunk. Some of the raw books, the ones not in hard plastic slabs, were bent. Spines were ticked. My dad's copy of Secret Wars number 8, Black Suit Spidey, had a coffee ring on the cover because she used the box as a coaster while loading the car. I stood there in the evidence room, looking at that coffee stain, and I actually cried. Not the sobbing kind, just tears leaking out while I stared at the damage. That book wasn't the most expensive, but my dad bought it for me when I got straight as in 5th grade. It was a symbol, and she used it for a latte. The detective, a guy named Miller, saw me. He didn't say anything, just handed me a tissue. We'll get the restitution added to the plea deal, he said, for the damage. I don't want the money, I told him. I want her to understand that she can't just erase people. Miller nodded. She's facing 1 to 3 years. She'll understand. I'm currently staying at an extended stay hotel. I blocked Vanessa on everything, but she's finding ways. She Venmo'd me 1 cent with the caption, "Please, Arthur, I love you, I'm sorry, I'll do anything, just tell them stop." I screenshotted it and sent it to Miller. Violation of the no contact order. I'm not backing down. Update 2. It's been 2 weeks. The legal wheels turn slow, but they grind exceedingly fine. Vanessa's arraignment was Tuesday. I didn't have to go, but I went. I sat in the back row. She looked diminished. She wasn't wearing her usual boss babe athleisure. She was in a gray suit that didn't fit, looking pale. When the judge read the charges, grand larceny and trafficking stolen goods, because of the online sales, she actually wobbled. Her lawyer is a family friend of theirs, a real estate attorney who clearly doesn't do criminal defense often. He tried to argue for dismissal based on implied consent because we cohabitated. The prosecutor, a sharp woman who told me she collects vintage vinyl and totally gets it, shut that down instantly. She produced the text messages where Vanessa admitted to sneaking around to do it while I was at work, and the grow-up comment which proved malicious intent to deprive me of property. The judge denied the motion to dismiss. Bail was set at $10,000. Her parents paid it. But here is where the find-out phase really kicks in. Since Vanessa has a pending felony charge involving theft and fraud, her lifestyle coaching gig hit a wall. Apparently, the platform she uses to host her courses has a clause about trust and safety. Someone, not me, honestly, probably one of the angry eBay buyers who didn't get their refund fast enough, reported her. Her account was suspended. And the landlord? He followed through. He served her with an immediate notice to vacate due to illegal activity on the premises. She had 72 hours to get out. I went back to the apartment one last time with the movers to get the last of my furniture. She was there, packing. Her mom was with her. The atmosphere was toxic. Her mom, a woman named Sharon who wears too much turquoise jewelry, cornered me in the kitchen while I was disconnecting the coffee maker. "You're ruining her life over comic books," Sharon hissed. "She's your partner. You're supposed to protect her." "She stole $47,000 from me, Sharon," I said, checking the water reservoir to make sure I wasn't leaving anything. "And she damaged things my father gave me. I'm protecting myself." "It's just stuff," Sharon yelled. "People are more important than stuff." "Respect is more important than stuff," I countered. "Trust is more important than stuff." She threw both of those in the trash so she could have a beige living room. Vanessa walked in then. She looked tired. "Arthur, please. I can't have a felony. I won't be able to get a real job. Just tell the DA you made a mistake. Say you gave me permission but forgot. Please. I'll pay you back every cent." "You don't have $47,000, Vanessa," I said. "And you can't pay me back for the coffee ring on Secret Wars. You can't pay me back for the fact that I had to call the police on the woman I slept next to." She started crying. "I was just trying to fix us. You were so obsessed with those boxes. It was unhealthy. And now you're obsessed with court dates," I said. "Is that healthier?" I walked out. I didn't look back. The funniest/saddest part? I found out from the landlord that after I left, they tried to pry the Nest thermostat off the wall because Vanessa paid for half of it. They broke it. The landlord is adding the cost of the repair to the damages lawsuit he's filing against her for the lease violation. I've recovered about 90% of the collection. The police released the boxes from the trunk back to me. The Hulk number 181 came back from the evidence locker yesterday. The case is cracked, but the book is safe. I'm going to have to get it reslabbed, which costs money and risks the grade dropping, but it's home. There are still about 5 books missing, sold to buyers who ghosted or claimed the package was lost. Total loss around $4,000. My insurance company is cutting me a check for those. And guess what? The insurance company is also suing Vanessa to recoup their payout. She's fighting a war on 3 fronts: the DA, the landlord, and State Farm. And she's doing it from her childhood bedroom in her parents' house. Update 3, final. It's been 4 months. The gavel has fallen. We didn't go to trial. Vanessa's lawyer finally realized that going in front of a jury with the evidence we had, the texts, the confession, the sheer value of the theft, was suicide. They cut a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to 1 count of felony attempted grand larceny. The sentence: 3 years of probation, 400 hours of community service, restitution in the amount of $6,200 to cover the unrecovered books, the damage to the recovered ones, and my legal/moving fees. Mandatory anger management and impulse control counseling. She legally has a felony record now. In our state, you can petition to have it expunged after 5 years of good behavior, but for now it's there. Whenever a potential employer runs a background check, it pops up. I saw her at the final sentencing hearing. She didn't look at me. She looked at the floor. When the judge asked if she had anything to say, she mumbled, "I just want this to be over." The judge, an older guy who looked like he'd handled 1,000 domestic disputes, leaned over the bench. Young lady, you wanted it to be over when you sold a man's legacy for pocket change. Now, you have to live with the fact that actions have echoes. You don't get to decide what matters to other people. It was a nice moment, not a movie moment. No applause. Just a quiet confirmation that I wasn't crazy for caring. The restitution is being garnished from her wages. She got a job working the front desk at a gym, one of the few places that didn't care about the theft charge, I guess. Every month, I get a check for $150. It'll take her years to pay me off. I set up a separate account for it. I'm using that money to buy books to fill the gaps in the collection. I bought a new copy of Secret Wars #8 last week, a 9.8 grade. It's beautiful. I put it next to my dad's copy, the one with the coffee stain. I kept the stain one. It's part of the history now. A reminder. My life is quiet. I bought a small house, just me, no roommates, no community property. I turned the second bedroom into a library. I installed a deadlock on the door. Not because I'm paranoid, but because I've learned that boundaries need physical enforcement sometimes. I'm dating again, casually. A nice girl named Elena. On our third date, I told her I collect comics. She didn't roll her eyes. She didn't tell me to grow up. She said, "Oh, cool. Like the movies or the vintage stuff?" "Vintage," I said. "My dad and I collected them." "That's sweet," she said. "You must have some cool stories about them." I smiled. "Yeah, I have a few stories." Vanessa texted me one last time, the day after sentencing. "Vanessa, I hope you're happy. You chose paper over a person." I didn't reply. I didn't block her immediately, though. I let the message sit there while I looked at my shelves. The colors of the spines were vibrant in the afternoon sun. The smell of old newsprint and mylar was thick in the air. I didn't choose paper over a person. I chose respect over disrespect. I chose my father's memory over her narcissism. I deleted the text. I picked up a book, and I started reading.